7 things that my endocrinologist said that actually made my Hashimoto's worse. The first was that he told me, yes, you have Hashimoto's, but your thyroid is still perfectly fine. It's working really well. So in your case, you just wait and see. There's nothing you can do right now. You wait and see, and eventually the Hashimoto's will destroy your thyroid. Your thyroid will become slow, and then and only then will I give you medicine, which you'll have to take forever. I listened to this for a while and I felt worse and worse. And I'm so glad that I figured it out because there is so much that you can do. Why would we wait and see for the thyroid to get destroyed? We can do things to help to support the immune system so that we can slow down the attack, even stop the attack and prevent the thyroid from being destroyed. Now, the second thing that he said was that antibodies don't matter. And that is also not correct. Antibodies do matter. Antibodies, so specifically for Hashimoto's, those are the thyroid peroxidase antibodies and the thyroglobulin antibodies. And those antibodies are showing that the immune system is in fact attacking. Now, antibodies could be there for years before thyroid function slows down. For some people, it could be a year. For other people, it could be 7, 8, 9 years. But that doesn't mean they're not doing anything. They're there showing there's an immune attack. And there's a lot you can do for that. So they are very important. And that's why it's important to test for them, because testing for antibodies is how a medical doctor would know that you have Hashimoto's and would make the diagnosis. And testing for antibodies is important so you can see with what you're doing what the progress is. And this leads me to the third thing that he said, and that is that why do you care about antibodies? You can't lower them anyway. Again, not correct. We can do so much to lower thyroid antibodies, from things like diet changes to certain supplements like selenium or inositol or SPM. These are all the nutrients that I have in Thyrolyft that can be very helpful for that, both the TPO and the thyroglobulin antibodies. Lifestyle plays a big role, how stress affects you and what you do for stress, how we support the nervous system, what we do to help all the different triggers that cause that immune confusion. All of those things can absolutely help, and you can lower your antibodies. It's unfortunate, but there's so many people who say there's nothing you can do and you can't lower them. That is just not correct. You absolutely can lower your antibodies. Now, the fourth thing that he said to me is that thyroid medicine is the only thing that's going to help me, but he can't give it to me until my thyroid is slow. And so there's nothing we can do. Now, again, thyroid medicine is important if you do have hypothyroidism. And it's one of the things that I talk about a lot with my community because medicine isn't bad, right? If you need it, I look at thyroid medicine essentially as replacing a hormone that you absolutely need. It is essential. So when you need it, you need it. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't make you weak. There's nothing bad, right? Because thyroid medicine really is this essential hormone. It's not like you're taking something to cover something up. You need it. However, if your thyroid isn't actually slow, you can't take medicine yet, right? You wouldn't want to do medicine. There's so many people, unfortunately, who are given thyroid medicine for Hashimoto's, not realizing that thyroid medicine is for your thyroid. It's not specifically for Hashimoto's. The medicine doesn't do anything to stop the immune attack. The medicine is for your thyroid to help to give your thyroid the hormone that it needs. And so for Hashimoto's, this is where we want to look at things like dietary changes and lifestyle changes and some of the supplements to help support that, which can help a lot of the symptoms, even if you don't need thyroid medicine yet. Because if you wait until the thyroid is destroyed, right, and then you take thyroid medicine, yes, it will help, but all of that destruction would have already happened. And the inflammation that's caused by the antibodies can also create symptoms. This is what people don't realize, that when your body, your immune system specifically, right, when it attacks the thyroid, it doesn't just attack here. It attacks literally all over. It creates systemic inflammation, which is why people can have so many symptoms, even if thyroid is still okay. From weight gain to brain fog to hair loss to skin issues to joint pain. Literally, it affects your whole body. So it's really, really important to realize this. Now, the fifth thing that he said to me was, he said, don't go gluten-free. And the reason is I said, I've read about gluten-free diets. This was about 25 years ago when I was first going through my journey before I became a provider and before I've been in practice for 20 years, specializing in thyroid issues and Hashimoto's. But back then, it wasn't as much research, but there was information about a gluten-free diet. And he said to me, no, don't go gluten-free. It's not going to help. And he even said that if you go gluten-free, you might actually become deficient in certain nutrients the gluten will give you. Again, just not correct. There's a lot of research showing that a gluten-free diet can be very beneficial. And what's also interesting is that many people who have Hashimoto's also have the genetics where they may not process gluten well. And if you have those genetics, which is the HLA DQ2 and DQ8, it makes it even harder for the body to process gluten. And then, due to a process called molecular mimicry, another term for that is cross-reactivity, your body can actually accidentally attack the thyroid while it's attacking the gluten. Because if you have the genetic predisposition to not process gluten, then the body will attack the gluten because it doesn't like it. Even if, by the way, you don't feel well, even if you don't have any digestive symptoms, that can still happen. And then while the body's attacking the gluten because of the genetics, it can accidentally attack the thyroid because there's some similarity between the gluten compound and your thyroid. So, while of course every person is different, many people have seen a lot of progress on a gluten-free diet. So, it's something that is absolutely worth a try if you have not tried it. And you can still get all of the nutrients that you need by eating other types of carbohydrates, by eating plenty of protein, by eating lots and lots of leafy greens and colorful vegetables. And there's no reason why you would be nutrient deficient if you take out gluten, as long as you're replacing the carbs with other good carbs like sweet potatoes or squash or some other gluten-free grains as well. The sixth thing that he said was that the fatigue I was experiencing, and oh my gosh, I was completely exhausted. And he said that that is definitely not because of Hashimoto's, because my thyroid was fine. He did not address or acknowledge at all that the Hashimoto's antibodies and inflammation could create fatigue. He was like, nope, it's not. And he told me I need to look for other causes and that perhaps I was depressed and I should try an antidepressant. Now, again, there's a time and place, right? But for me, I really wasn't depressed. I was depressed because I didn't feel well, but I wasn't depressed initially. And it's just so important to know that the Hashimoto's itself, even when thyroid is okay, can cause a lot of symptoms. And of course, if the thyroid already is suboptimal, that plus the Hashimoto's can cause even more symptoms. And then the seventh thing that he told me is that this is a lifelong condition and that instead of trying to figure it out, I need to learn how to manage it. And I listened to that for a little bit, but I'm so glad that I stopped and worked on actually figuring it out. Because with Hashimoto's, it's not a disease of the thyroid per se, right? It's an autoimmune disease. It's the immune system that is attacking the thyroid. It's thinking that the thyroid is not your friend. It's thinking the thyroid is something bad, a pathogen or a microbe of some kind. And it's getting to the bottom of that immune confusion. That's the key, right? There's a reason why the immune system got confused, and that could be because of foods we're eating that aren't as good for us. It could be because of stress. It could be because of nutrient deficiencies. It could be because of certain infections like viruses or other gut bugs. And so when we look at these, I call these triggers, that is how we help to unconfuse the immune system. So yes, we do have to be mindful and do things to manage symptoms, but it's not just about managing symptoms. There's so much that we can do to feel better. Much more below.